That was a fast delivery, Signe. Thank you so much for keeping within the time. And it was inspirational. I think we're hearing, well, most of us here are hearing some of these ideas for the very first time. And it's a real shift. We can sense there's a significant shift in what you're proposing. But we're not going to hear from me. We're now going to invite our panelists just to give a response to what they've heard. And then we'll open it up to discussion from within our physical audience here in Liverpool John Moores University, but also those who are watching us digitally. So I'm going to invite Ms. Anderson to just give a response from where you are.
Absolutely great in what was presented to us. Where I've seen similarities is, as part of my manifesto, I talked about creating opportunities for everybody. So one of the first things I talked to Claire about when I first become in post is some of the areas on the outskirts of Liverpool and, you know, the opportunities that they receive, but also if you visit Barcelona, you might go to the city centre, but then you'll go to a market in another area. And I don't think we really offer that well for the city. So really liked that, you know, the focus on neighbourhoods and locals, and interesting take that, yeah, we think neighbourhoods should be more inclusive, just not my neighbourhoods. And we think cyclists are great, but just not in front of me. So it understands in that bit. But we've had many conversation about what we can do to make some of our outer boroughs much more destinations for people to visit. And I really like the idea of temporary local, was it called, or temporary visitor and permanent visitor in the presentation, that some people will visit us temporarily and some here are much longer term, but we're all kind of together. So I love that. One of the final things I'll say is I've looked at implementing a process of consultation at Liverpool City Council that I think we need to mature the relationship around consultation, to talking about things that we need answers to actually engaging people more deeply, to co-designing our services and empowering people to make decisions for themselves, which is exactly in line with the conversation around what is wanted for tourism. So I really welcomed lots of things in the presentation, seen some similarities that we can learn from, and yeah, quite exciting what I've seen tonight.
Thank you.
Apologies, first of all, I'm sorry I was late with the LMA. So I'd be the most rubbish tourist in the world. I literally would be lost the second that I got somewhere. And I just think it's really interesting because when you listen to Copenhagen, they're at a much more advanced stage of a journey than we are in Liverpool. There's people who've been here a long time like me. You know, I've just walked through town and it is absolutely buzzing. But, you know, 15 years ago, you'd run through that particular part of town. So you'd run from the Playhouse all the way up to kind of Hope Street, and you certainly wouldn't come into this area. But then suddenly you're walking through today and the streets are really, really busy. So I think we've got a real opportunity to think post-pandemic, but with a really strong base of kind of visitors wanting to come here. And we found that very much after the pandemic. You know, we've not opened up to international tourists yet as a city, and it's really, really, really busy. And people are coming here perhaps wouldn't have thought to come here from the UK and really enjoying the experience of being in Liverpool. So I think there's a real opportunity for us to kind of look at where Copenhagen's got to and think we can probably get there a bit earlier, because we're at a much earlier stage of our journey. I know the work that Pete's done around the kind of local campaign, I think really helps that. There's a couple of things, and it's of interest to me because Joanne's right. You know, we're starting a whole other way of engaging residents in what we're doing. So at the moment we're doing a markets consultation, and we had Monday night or Tuesday night, we had the market traders in to the city to talk to them about markets. And actually, if you look at somewhere like Grady Market, there is masses of opportunity. You know, they want people to come to them. At one point, they were saying they organise their own buses, and they want people to come and experience Liverpool at its very best, really, with kind of those traders, and to get a real experience of Liverpool. And I think there's something that we can do that's really interesting around when the market consultation's finished, about looking at kind of those places that are just outside the city and getting people out to them in a really great way to experience kind of the real Liverpool. At the same time, and kind of looking at our absolutely brilliant assets that we've got in the city. And if you look at River of Light at the moment, which, you know, the city at the front by the river at the moment is full of families. It's fantastic. Even on a school night, they're out there tonight with prams and pushchairs, and it's brilliant. But they're all looking at buildings now in ways that I walk past the town hall, oh God, a lot of them, a lot, but you sometimes don't look at it. You sometimes stop looking at the buildings that we have in the city, and you forget about how beautiful this city is. And I think projects like River of Light, and when we just suddenly put a spotlight on buildings and on places, you get a whole different view. So imagine if you're a visitor in the city tonight, you don't really know what's going on. You've come here, you maybe going to a conference or something, and you walk out on the street and you feel that atmosphere, and you feel that, and the walkability of Liverpool's great. And I think that's probably something that I know Joanne's looking at, and that is absolutely, talking about bike highways in Copenhagen. We're not quite there yet. The cycling is increasing. You do see people coming in down Prince's Avenue cycling. You do see people cycling to Prince's Park from the city centre. And I think it's time for us to reflect now and to really think through what we want the next 10 years to look like, because the last 10 years have been, we had no one, and now we've got a lot of people who want to be here. But now what do we want the next 10 years to be in terms of what they experience when they actually come? And it might not be the same thing. I'm not saying the Beatles and football and all those things that people come for will change, but there's a whole lot more to Liverpool that we know that we need to think about. That was so interesting. I love hearing things like that, where people who obviously are brilliant and know what they're doing, but also I've never been to Copenhagen. That painted a picture for me. You've been, haven't you?
I just want to cut in here about watching two cyclists clash into each other in Copenhagen. Didn't have a fight, just walked away from each other and never said a word. So I think we're a long way from that. It was certainly a measure. Yeah,
I am literally
a measure.
Hazel, would you like to comment?
Well, there was so much packed into that as an academic, I could spend a very long time thinking about what we heard. But I think the big standout thing for me, which I found really promising, is the emphasis on people. So in the very first seminar, I think it was Frank Cottrell Boyce said, a city starts with people. Well, so does tourism. Tourism is based on people wanting to travel and people being willing to host them. It's the basis of society. So I found that really, really promising. And I'm really pleased to hear from or the other panelists about engaging local people. It's good to hear about community involvement and a bottom-up approach rather than an idea being imposed upon people. So that for me was my big takeaway from that there is something happening that's really engaging with people, because that is what it's about. It's not about business, it's not about statistics, visitor satisfaction, how much profit have we made, how many tourists have we got in. It's about the experience, what people think, what they feel. And it's as much about the local people's experience as it is about what the tourists are getting from it. And the other thing I was really pleased to hear her say was that they worked with academics, which is great. So, I mean, we're here. We have a variety of expertise, so don't be shy.
Great.